Studies rooms.
It is 4675 Abercon. Is that what you've already been told about that? Lowercase, if anybody's like me, and trying uppercase.
Okay, well, launch into things. Hello, I'm Joseph DeQuinta, or sometimes people at work know me as Joe Grant, and people in Second Life know me as Jamin Carter. I have fewer Second Life names than real life names. Caused confusion in the registration, but we got through that. I'm going to invite you on a journey to look at some of what IBM has done in virtual worlds. Pertinent to that is a little bit of an explanation. I am not here on behalf of IBM. Okay, I am an IBM employee. I am here as an individual that happens to work for IBM. I'm going to talk about some of the things that we do at work. I do not speak on behalf of IBM. Okay, so mostly I'm going to kind of like focus on what IBM has done and some of what we're doing that has been announced, and going to hedge a lot on what we're doing in the future. Okay, because I do not have the power to make official announcements. So you can ask me and I'll say, you know, I like my job and I want to keep it. I can't tell you that, because then I'd have to kill you. But you know, my opinions presented here are my own, blah blah blah. This all comes from IBM's business conduct guidelines. Okay, IBM, I hardly approve of, has conduct guidelines that encourage people to be free with their opinion, to encourage people to talk. We don't say don't blog about work. You know, they say what you want to. As you can say whatever you want, and we'll not have your head on a platter. You won't lose your job, as long as you make it clear you're not speaking for IBM. You're speaking on your own initiative. I like that. I think that's a good idea. I'm happy to comply with that. It allows me to sit here and speak with you guys, but it does restrain some of what I could say, but not enough. I think we still have plenty of interesting things to talk about. So, again, if you're writing like little press releases and stuff like that, you can't say an IBM representative says or blah 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 like that. Just the way it goes. And for those of you who can read non-microscopic writing, there's a URL to our business conduct guidelines if you're really interested. I can, and again, if you don't want to, if you can't read that small now, I mean, I know I can't. And you got a USB drive, I'll give you a copy of the presentation, ping me in World or something like that. I'm happy to pass on. Because this is all, I can't say anything that's IBM confidential, so this is all public. Anybody who wants it. So, sort of starting off, who am I? All fit on, excellent. I was hired in 1994 to Lotus Development Corporation. That was then bought by IBM, so I've been in Lotus longer than I've been in IBM. And, in the tech world, that's a long time. It's what, 94, what's it? 2010 minus 94, 16 years. In IBM world, it's actually not. It's kind of weird. It's a company like that. It's that there's just so many people that have been there for a very long time. So I'm kind of middle-aged in real life and in IBM life. Just interesting demographic about the company. My day job has nothing to do with virtual worlds. You know, I'm a programmer. I do programming stuff. And if you're not technical, the details will bore you. But you know, again, virtual worlds is kind of like one of my IBM hobbies. Okay, they do encourage you in IBM. It's kind of like Google made big press with their, I forget what they called it, where they can screw around for a certain percentage of their time just doing stuff. IBM's been doing that for years. You know, they call it Think Friday time, blah 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 like that. And that's kind of where virtual worlds most of the time fits in. It's one of my virtual hobbies. You know, I tinker around, I do stuff. I volunteered on about 50% of IBM's projects in virtual worlds off and on over the years. You probably haven't heard my name, my avatar's name. You probably don't know me to see me unless you're other people in IBM. Because I'm not a big high-profile mega personality from Second Life. I'm just a guy. And in IBM, I'm just a guy. I don't set virtual world policy. I'm not instrumental in virtual world projects. I'm just one of the IBMers who does stuff with virtual worlds, and that's the perspective you're going to get here. And again, I think there's value to that. There's not things I can say officially, but it's much more the social aspect of how things go on and go. Some of the stuff I've done, I just put down here as kind of a resume. If anybody remembers the Lotus Sphere parcel, if you ever cared about Lotus and you were in the IBM Islands, I did the Lotus Sphere parcel, at least maintained it. We did this little BizTech project. BizTech project is kind of like an internal internship thing. It's kind of nifty, because you could take like 20% of your day job and do it on a project. You had a project on social networking and virtual worlds, and do some of that. One of my ongoing projects is 2.5D presentations. This is written with Symfony. If you have not seen Lotus Symphony, it's a blue wash of OpenOffice, which is our attempt to dastardly undercut Microsoft's profit by giving away an Office suite that's actually pretty darn good for free. But one of the nifty things about it is the data formats are public. This is a big bone of contention in various worlds. If you know about it, you already know about it. If you don't know about it, you probably don't care about the details. One of the benefits of that is I can read all the data formats, and I have this little mechanism that imports them into Second Life. There's nothing that bores me more than sitting in Second Life and watching a 3D immersive world, watching a two-dimensional presentation. We've all been there, we've all done that, probably even presented with that. You know, it's not making good use of the medium. But on the other hand, designing a 3D presentation is a lot of work. So I've been playing around with the ability to automatically generate a sort of 3D-ish presentation using a 2D authoring medium. So you author it all in something like Symfony, you add little hints in it, products like that. So that's kind of cool, but again, I don't want to make this talk about that. You can badger me about that later and I'll bend your ear off. I've been an IBM blogger. I've had a blog on return on investment in virtual worlds, which is kind of interesting, trying not to be pro, trying not to be con, trying to say, you know, can we make money on this? Then I had kids, and I don't do that so much anymore. I'm an admin on the IBM Sandbox, have been for a lot of time, and you know, lots of other bits and pieces. But let's get to the more interesting stuff. I'm going to kind of look at. I think I'm missing a slide. A couple of things. Let me go back. So this is kind of the general sort of thing that I want to follow. You know, I've done the introductions. I want to look at IBM's public engagement in virtual worlds. It's kind of like what we've done out there in the public. Second thing is I want to look at what we're selling with regards to virtual worlds. IBM is selling virtual world products. Not shoes and hair, but virtual world products. How we use it internally. Okay, you know, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind our firewall that you guys don't see, you know, the public doesn't see. And lastly, how IBMers use Second Life. Yeah, there's other virtual worlds, Second Life, whatever. There's IBMers in the room. I recognize some of them because they've introduced me to them because I've never seen them before. But we're going to look at that. Okay, bang bang. So the first section then, our public engagement in virtual worlds. And it's just these sort of areas we're going through. So customer engagements. Okay, back at the beginning when all of this started to explode, I guess around 2006. IBM is in the business of giving answers to their customers. Our customers started coming to us saying, hey, I see on the cover of Fortune magazine, virtual worlds, Second Life, ooh, economy, money. Should we be there? What should we be doing? And IBM was like, no, we can't tell our customers that. We need to know. So they decided that we need to engage with this medium and work out what people need to do. Okay. So we talked to a few of our key customers and interested them in let's try a prototype. Let's try something out. You know, you give us a little bit of money, you know, and we'll put a bunch of resources on it because the selling point was you're going to get more than you're paying for because we need to explore this, but we're not sure what's going to come out of it. Okay, so we engaged a few people, and you know, we explored the medium. Okay. You probably remember some of them. I don't know, there was a little tiny Circuit City, a little tiny Sears, very similar to that. Some of these went on and became full-blown Sims. I think Circuit City at its height had 4 whole Sims that were showcasing stuff. I don't know if we did them for them or not. I was not involved at that point. But other ones disappeared and we've never seen since. IBM kind of followed this with our own stuff, and I'll kind of get into that in the next sort of section there. A lot of the stuff that we kind of did there was, you know, product and feature awareness. Let's, you know, show the products there. Sometimes we would pick something, like for Circuit City, there's the whole, what size TV do I need? Okay, and you could like sit in a little chair and it would move you closer to the wall or farther away from the wall and show you the different sizes of TV. And that's something that you could do in a virtual world more compellingly than on a website, okay, and more conveniently than going to the store. So we're looking for things like that. The Sears thing would like rearrange your kitchen for you, you know, to a limited degree. And you know, we were looking for things like that. And of course there's the whole brand promotion. While the spotlight's focused on Second Life, you really wanted to be there so that, you know, you're mentioned in the blurb in Fortune 500 or whatever like that. Edutainment was a big sort of, like, okay, well, people still kind of see this as a game. Even if you can't convince management that it's not a game, go with it. It's like, let's have a game, draw people and look at stuff. One thing that's kind of characteristic, because when we're on the business track, it's kind of split. It did not feature virtual products. We did not sell hair or shoes. That sort of thing. And I don't mean to be dismissive by that. That's an economy. It's a very different sort of economy. Our traditional customers don't do that sort of thing, and it's hard for them to do that sort of thing. So we didn't get in. We had a lot of discussion around it. It was like Reebok was selling shoes, branded shoes in Second Life, and it's like, well, is that, could we sell Sears dishwashers in Second Life for people to put in their homes? We decided not. Although we had that, people kept asking for the iPods. So, and as I kind of hinted at, most of these kind of aren't there anymore. I'm actually not aware of any customer that we helped or prototype that's still in Second Life. But again, it's a learning experience. What do we learn from this? Small set of product could be displayed. I'm trying not to just read this. You have to find the wins. And like I said, we found this with Circuit City. We found a win with Circuit City. We found a win with Sears. But we did not find enough across the board for a convincing return on the investment. Okay, so that was the thing. It's like, okay, we need to scratch our heads a lot and really have a number of compelling reasons to be there. People like the face-to-face support. I normally go to, when I was marketing mostly for the Lotus brand, we have our big annual conference, Lotus Sphere, down in Disney World. Loved going to that. One year I went down, and I was a new father, and I had to come back. My daughter was not doing well, so I had to come back. But I'd already blocked off the time, so I had my little laptop there and spent the time on the Lotus Sphere parcel. And people came by, and